So I first started going to the Dharma Center in June of 2018. In San Antonio, there is a road. It's not necessarily a very busy road in the sense that it's not part of downtown. It's not part of any tourist attraction, but it's a road that everybody, so many people, not everybody, but a lot of people traverse all the time. And on that road there is a sign. It says Buddhism for today, and this sign looks a little more what Americans would say is Japanese, right? Than it does like a traditional, regular rectangular American sign, right? And that attracts many of us, and I was one of those. I was one of those who were first attracted by the Buddhism for today. At that time that I first saw the sign, I had read a couple of books on Buddhism and was interested, and tell me if this makes sense. I kind of like cherry picked, like things that I liked about Buddhism without calling myself Buddhist or without making a claim that I practice Buddhism. I just read things in books and I was like, yeah, I'm going to use this, And just like most others, just like most other members of many, I shouldn't say most, just like many other members of the San Antonio Sangha, the sign was what got me in the door the first time. However, more importantly, what makes people want to come back? And what made me want to come back was Reverend Kevin. I didn't know at the time that I was about to lose my parents. And during the very tumultuous, the very challenging years of my dad's illness, my father had dementia and Alzheimer's. Reverend Kevin played a pivotal role, a very important role in helping me through it and modeling for me how someone who practices the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha would perceive these challenges. What really got me involved at Rissho Kosei-kai, San Antonio, was the Tuesday night Lotus Sutra study class. Let me start over. I think of myself, or at the time, I thought of myself as someone who was pretty well read. Like I've read a lot of books. I can read difficult material, and I was kind of proud of that, right? I felt like, I'm an English teacher, and so I teach, students how to read complicated texts all the time. So when the first time through the Lotus Sutra, I realized this is something that requires a lifetime of study. And that was really interesting to me and there are many books that do, right? But this was different. The Lotus Sutra was something that, as you change the lessons and innumerable meanings, right? Innumerable lessons, innumerable teachings. I feel, of course, very honored, very honored. And interestingly, I feel very humbled, I think that this is an opportunity to use a title in a way that gives me, how do I put it? To use the title in a way to influence people for good. One of the things that I want to do when I get back home is I want to make a sincere effort to be a very good listener to the members of the San Antonio Sangha and model the conduct that Shakyamuni Buddha modeled for the Bodhisattvas, and model the conduct that the Bodhisattvas modeled for all living beings. I think that's what I have seen some of the Dharma teachers that I admire the most do, is lead with their actions, lead with their conduct. So one thing that I felt really strongly today and the day before was I recently lost both of my parents, and in the time since, I have felt, of course, very sad at times, but more than that, the sadness has been greatly overpowered by I can feel their presence with me more and more as time goes by. And today, especially, at Great Sacred Hall, when the instruments, I don't know how to put this exactly, but like the more traditional orchestral musicians were playing, okay. When they first started, I just felt all throughout my body and my mind and my soul, I can feel my Father's presence with me. And I could, right afterwards, I could feel my mom right there with him. And it was an affirmation that this is the path for me. This is how I can do the most good for others. This is the way. Neither of my parents were Buddhists, and the importance of family is important in the West. Family is important in the United States, of course. However, there's less of an emphasis on ancestors. But Rissho Kosei-kai has given me the great gift of understanding and seeing the importance of practicing for those who are alive now, who will be alive in the future, and for my ancestors and for my parents.